But yeah, cotton transport, grape trailers, animal transport. I was thinking I could sell some of these. So that's probably the nearest thing I've got to a pickup trailer. I think that tips back so I can drive stuff onto the back of it. I was thinking of selling some chickens. We've got a lot of them, and we could increase our chicken income by selling chickens and letting more grow in place. So if I sold the oldest ones, then I could have, obviously the newer ones would fill in the gaps. Might do that when we're done here. How's case is still running? No, that's 9. That one. Looks like it's on a headland, so getting close to the end. That. Somewhere here. Actually, let's turn that off and drive fast. There it is. Alrighty. So yeah, if he's on the headland, then he should be done weeding shortly. That's okay. I'll stick him on the cornfield, which is that one there. And it'll probably take him all the time it takes me to do this field. And then we can move on to the next thing. Also, for a lot of the railway modelers in England, it looks like the high temperatures in the Arctic season, also known as summer, is pretty much over, and they're getting back to doing all the things. Plus it's exhibition season, so there's lots of train exhibitions and what have you as well. Sadly, no train exhibitions for me because they're 5,000 miles away, 10,000 miles away, long way away. 8,000 probably. Not that with the state of England at the moment, I would consider going back there anytime soon. And my wife is pretty much of the same feelings. Since the only crimes they appear to be clearing up are people who say the wrong thing to the wrong person. Yeah. Not my idea of fun. Not that I usually say the wrong thing to the wrong person, but unfortunately in England it's not so much what you think is the wrong thing, it's what other people get offended by. It's like, well, that's their problem, not my problem. And there was a story, I think it was a story about 2 weeks ago where some guy got cautioned by the police because somebody was talking to him and it was very garbled and he wasn't speaking very loudly, and the guy he was talking to was partially deaf. Now, yes, the guy who was talking to him, or the guy he was talking to, could probably have said things in a better way. Unfortunately, he had someone in his family with him, but he told the person that was talking to him to speak English. And this policeman started to caution him, and the person, his family member who was with him said he can't hear very well, and probably what he actually meant was, "Can you speak more clearly, please?" But it didn't come out right, and so the person who was doing the talking got offended because he was told to speak English, and as far as he was concerned, he was speaking English. And it's like, you look at the situation. The guy can't hear. I have hearing problems. It's why I generally don't do parties and I don't go to nightclubs, because I can't carry on a conversation with people. It's just I can cope with a sort of a static noise. So if there's airplane engines, the rush of wind passing a vehicle, whatever, I can hear through that because my brain can tune the sounds that I'm hearing so that the constant drone of insignificant sound, I can just tune that out. But when you've got sort of variable sound of people talking in the background or music in the background, my brain can't tune that sound out. So you can be sitting right in front of me shouting at me and I'll miss half of the conversation because the rest of the noise in the room is just drowning out the conversation I'm trying to have. So either I'll sit there and nod occasionally or whatever, right? But I can't participate in the conversation because I can't follow the conversation. So that's all a thing. So I can understand how someone can, if someone's talking to you and there's too much background noise, it's like you can get frustrated, very easily frustrated with, look, I really can't hear what you're saying. And if you want to hear what they're saying, then you're probably going to, say something to them, especially if they're mumbling. But if, it's a struggle for some people. But you bring up, if you keep, if you have a conversation, you can say, can you repeat that? The person who's talking to you will get frustrated that you keep asking them to repeat what they said. And which side? That side. So it can be frustration on both sides, but sometimes people will take offense. You're just not listening to me, blah blah blah, and it's like, no, I'm trying. I have this issue hearing. Why am I? Oh, I'm going so slowly because there we go. The crop sensor has an operating speed as well, which overrides top speed on the tractor. So yeah, it's just hearing difficulties can cause frustration all round. And you know, if you tell someone you can't understand them or you can't hear them, they can get offended, and then in England that becomes a crime or a non-crime hate incident or whatever they call it, and then you have to go and have a chat with the cops to, oh, your attitude's all wrong and blah blah. And it's like, I don't need to waste time. I can't hear people because I have a hearing difficulty. And if they're going to get offended when I tell them I have a hearing difficulty, then that becomes part of the problem. Okay. Now what's happening? I bet I'm taking fertilizer off the bottom now instead of the top. Yeah. Have 2 half pallets of fertilizer. That is what it is. Let's turn that engine off. Let's, you know what? I'm just going to drive this over to the next field. So that bit's done. Now we have to do this bit. And off he goes. Okay. Now back to, don't need to do that one. I need to do this one. Oops. Just drive over the pickup truck, why not? So when we get back, we'll have to put the seeds in the shed too. And then sell the wool. And oh look, it's an annoying person. Welcome to reports. So what's blah blah blah. Yes, that next and submit report and block this user. Bye bye. Okay, so anyway, back to the farm. Oh, shoot. I ended up in the middle of the wrong field. That was not what I wanted. Okay, so now we can drive back up to where we was. And I do believe I spent about 20,000 today, I believe. And that would be, I mean, those pallets of liquid fertilizer are 9,600 each. But they're triple sized pallets, so 6,000 litres. Okay, I'm going to have to drive in the field so I can see where I've been. Okay, I think I've already been here. Yes. Unfold. We turn on the crop sensor and do believe this is the row that I need. Turn on the sprayer and off we go. So we'll fill out this row. Yes, I can. We're closer to the bottom here, so I'll do the start again from the bottom and work our way back up. So again, there's a little patch over here, right in front of the tractor. It looks like that bit there where it didn't plant a tiny bit where the row one way versus the row the other way is a little bit off. Anyway, next row. Whee! And that is the tea gone before it's cold. Yay! It's time 9:46. Streaming for 1 hour 8 minutes. There goes the train again. Here comes the train again. No. So, what else has been going on lately? I mean, I think been watching the enhancements of AI, and in the past it's still cheaper to pay somebody to work at McDonald's than it is to buy a robot to do it. But it's getting very close to the point where McDonald's isn't going to have jobs for people. You're going to need one person to refill the robot, and that's it. Car manufacturers have used robots to spray paint the vehicles. Even some assembly just uses robots. So, the era of unskilled mass production is slowly going away. But in my area of experience, computer programmer, we're getting to the point where computers can write programs faster than I can. So it becomes cheaper to employ a computer to do my work than it does to employ me to do my work. Now, that's not a problem today now, but we're getting into an era where I'm not going to have a job. But fortunately, I'm close to retirement age, so potentially in 5-10 years, it won't be a problem for me to say, you know what, I might as well retire. I'm being replaced by an AI. I've had a productive life. I can do, I can live out my years with what I've put aside for retirement. But also, I've worked for a number of companies that have considered replacing the computer systems that I have experience programming. They've decided, we should replace our mainframe with with server farms, PC server farms. And it's like, I can see the benefit of having PC interfaces, because obviously mainframe is a green screen, 80 characters wide by 24 rows. You can't put a lot of information on those screens. They're kind of like the old airline check-in terminals where, it does text, and it does 7 colors of text, and yes, it can highlight or it can flash red messages at you or whatever, but it's a static display. There's no bells and whistles. It gives you the information you need, and I will say that a good operator can make those screens, it doesn't hold them back. They can just, without looking, just type in item numbers, quantities, and just enter an order in like 3 minutes. When I worked retail, some of the stores I worked at, once you got familiar with the keypad on the checkout, I mean, I could put an order of 20 items through in less than a minute. Generally without looking at the keyboard. I would just be looking at the item and typing in the product number. But, and so green screens favor people, touch typists who, can do things really, so used to their job, they can do things really quickly. And any changes to the screen, they get so annoyed. You changed my screen. Now I have to, you've added an extra key press, and that's slowing me down. And it noticeably slows them down because they're typing the next thing before the key press is processed. So, there's all that. But to be fair, having a PC screen, which is far more dynamic and fluid, presents information far more sensibly. It's far more logical. You look at the screen and you can see the sections. And on a green screen, there's none of that. So I can see the point in revising your user interface into something that's a little bit more friendly. But PC servers do not have as high a reliability as mainframes. A mainframe has the mainframe I work on over the course of 40 years now has something like a 99.95% availability. That's incredible, and it speaks to reliability. If you want your computer system, if your company relies on your computer systems to do their business, if the computer goes down, you're not doing your business. Your revenue stream has dried up until you can get it fixed. So the number one most important thing is to get it fixed there and then. And if you've got a 99.95% availability, that's like a couple of hours a year. And some of that lack of availability may be, because Mr. IBM's turned up and we're upgrading the system and it's going to take 3 hours. And then we have to make sure everything's working properly before we let everybody back on. But you can't say that about PC systems. They're over 90%, they're probably over 95%, but sometimes they go down and it takes time to bring them back up. Plus, it's not one system, it's multiple interconnected systems. And if one of the communications lines goes down, certain critical parts of the system can't talk to other certain parts of the critical parts of the system. So while I've got 95% of my system running, but I rely on also that 5%. So only 50% of my business can do anything until that 5% is brought back up. And it just makes sense to store the data somewhere where it's pretty much always available. And have the user interfaces connecting with it. Now, if a user interface goes down, that's one person. It's not an entire company of 1,000 people. So I've seen companies change the way, we're getting rid of the mainframe, we're going to do everything on PC server farms. And it's like, okay. And it costs them a ton of money. It's more expensive because the PC server farms need